Let's see how it all works out, but I'll tell you what, they're trying to destroy a very fine person, and we can't let it happen. We can't let it happen. Democrats want activists, left-wing judges who will totally rewrite your laws, erase your borders, and replace your values. You don't want that in Tennessee. Republicans know that a judge's job is to follow the law and to deliver equal justice for all.
Well, let's go to Washington now. Dave Levinthal is a senior political reporter at the Center for Public Integrity, a non-profit organization that promotes investigative journalism. Couldn't speak to someone more qualified, Dave. I need to ask you, how do you see this case unfolding? Are the accusers now looking on shaky ground, or is their case actually firming up with the FBI investigation?
Foremost, it will unfold quickly. We're talking about days, not weeks or months here, and it's entirely possible that by the end of this week, we could have a vote on Judge Kavanaugh as to whether he is ultimately going to be placed on the Supreme Court or not. So this is a very short time frame, and what the FBI is effectively doing here is just doing an extremely condensed version of a background check, looking into Brett Kavanaugh's character, looking, of course, into the allegations, accusations, and counter-allegations and accusations that have been lodged at him and put up to defend him, but trying to paint a picture to see if there is anything more than has already come out in the numerous interviews, the numerous testimony before the Senate, and this is something that is really coming down to the wire here.
But is it enough time, Dave? Because they've been given a week from a few days ago, and a lot of people would say it's just not enough time.
Democrats would say, no, it's not enough time. And most Democrats, almost all Democrats, oppose Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the U.S. Supreme Court. Republicans say, in fact, it's more than enough time and that the vote should have already taken place. So you really have both sides of the political spectrum in a very polarized position over this nomination, which shouldn't be surprising really at all, because much of what we have in Washington is quite on the polar opposites when it comes to Democrats and Republicans. So again, I would expect that a vote will be taken quite soon, but even though Democrats and Republicans are very polarized, likely the vote, if it does take place in this time frame, is going to come down to a couple of key U.S. senators, two of whom, one is from Alaska, that's Lisa Murkowski, and another from Maine, on opposite ends of the country, and that's Susan Collins. They're undecided. They're both Republicans. They're both women, and because the Senate is very, very tightly packed in terms of Republicans and Democrats, you have really just a couple of key senators who are undecided, who are likely going to be the votes that tip this nomination one way or another.
How important is it that one of Kavanaugh's accusers has backtracked on her allegations?
It's unclear. There have been numerous allegations, as of course has come out over the past many weeks, one of which, and the most prominent of which, comes from Dr. Christine Ford, who said that she was sexually assaulted by Brett Kavanaugh. So there have been others, as you've mentioned, that have come forward too. There have been people who have talked about Brett Kavanaugh's history of drinking, Brett Kavanaugh's partying and activities, whether this is going to ultimately make a difference in the Senate vote that will confirm or not Brett Kavanaugh to the U.S. Supreme Court is unclear. It's really just those couple of minds on the U.S. Senate that are the most important here, because pretty much everyone else on the Democratic and Republican side, they're locked in. They know how they're going to vote. There's nothing that is going to change their mind, say for something absolutely monumental that has not yet come to light. And absent that, short of that, pretty much it will come down to those couple of people.
Dave Levinthal in Washington, thank you for that update.